Oh, man. They are a fun watch. I was thinking about our conversation last week when I said all I can do is just sort of share like the feeling. It feels like KD Warriors in terms of expectation.
Right.
And then that furthered yesterday when I'm like, because I remember when that bus would pull up to arenas and, the ESPN or whatever, TNT would be there, and they're like, boom, Steph, KD, Clay, Dre, Andre, Steve, bop, bop, bop. Everyone's walking off the bus, and you're like, it's a damn rock band. Like, this is a show, and it's on the road. Get your tickets to see the show. And I kind of have that vibe with these guys, especially with the way they started the game. Place is absolutely on its ear, anticipation through the roof. They're supposed to be coming into a trap game because they're coming off of their emotional win in Philly. They take the field, and they're like, here, Christian, gone. Place is absolutely bouncing.
Yeah.
It's a show. They're a freaking show.
What a well-blocked play, too.
Oh, my God.
You give Christian all the credit for, I don't know, being able to run through a gap that was about 3 lanes wide on your average freeway. Incredibly blocked. It's a toss, and he drifts it out, and he looks, and he's like, I see the hole. The hole is about 12 feet wide, and then it's boop, 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 couple of cuts, and you get in the secondary, and you get downfield blocking. The only thing that was missing was him scoring the touchdown.
Yep. Ran out of steam.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I wanted, being in the open field as a running back, and, like I've had, have you ever had like somebody who played in college or whatever just kind of describe to you, because we think of you running in the open field, and now you're thinking about the ball because people might be behind you, right? You got these shoulder pads on, you got a helmet, pads are over your legs. They're like just everything starts kind of, it's like it's all bouncing off of it. The helmet is bobbling around like you're a bobblehead. You get in the open field. It's a lot to finish those things off because some of the fastest people on the planet are chasing you. So I was thinking about he broke it in the open. I'm like, he's going to go. And then he got to the 20. I'm like, oh, no, he's running.
Yeah. But then he cuts back, and you think he still might get in there. And he gets the block from Ayuk, who is now 70 yards away from the line of scrimmage, and he's still down there fighting for him, which just speaks to what you were talking about earlier as far as, like, not only the rock band part of this, but just how unselfish this team is and how they're all pulling for each other. And it doesn't matter if Ayuk has a big game or Kittle or Debo or any of them. They're all out there trying to just get the win.
Yeah, it is. I don't know where to put the credit for that. My only guess is that you have to give it to the coaching staff because they've set, and the leaders of the team, the Trent Williams of the world, all of them, they've set the tone. They've set the tone. And, the guys were talking in the crossover about, like, why are these receivers willing to go block downfield? And it's because a tone and a rule was set. You don't block, you don't play. You don't block, you don't play. And that's not that easy. I mean, I think about it as a parent. It's not that easy to set the rules of the house and then follow them. You know what I mean? And I think about what he did with Ayuk a couple of years ago, and you look at the player you have now. And people were upset at Kyle Shanahan for that at the time. And I want to give Kyle Shanahan a truckload of credit because he shaped the tone of Brandon Ayuk's career. And like, Brandon's going to be the one who reaps the rewards.
Right.
It's going to get an absolute payday here in the offseason. And he deserves credit for listening and reacting correctly instead of pouting. Look at George Pickens in Pittsburgh right now. That young man has talent coming out the wazoo. But crossroads, brother, do you want it? You want this or not? You want to be a pouty? You want to go Antonio Brown? Or do you want to go Brandon Ayuk? And you want to get paid in 2 years?
Yeah. And part of that goes to John Lynch, too, and Parag Marante and the rest of the execs, because they have created a template where if we draft you and you go out there and you play and you are a, quote, A-lister, you're going to get paid. And it's all made easier by the fact that Brock Purdy's making $800,000 or $770 or whatever the exact number is. And now you've got a structure to where there is money to go around. And so Brandon Ayuk looks at it and says, it's not about my numbers, it's about my overall output. And the output's been incredible. The numbers have been good, but the output has been so good, and it's complimentary football on the offensive side of the ball. And you've got he and Christian and George and Debo, and they're all working together, and you're winning games. And so now Ayuk, I'm sure, is looking at his offseason thinking, 17 a year, 20? Oh. Do I get 22? Am I at 24? I mean, I have to look at what the top of the market is. Well, he's not at the top of the market, but he's going to be near it.
He's going to be in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And AJ and Debo and DK, all rep by the same person, had those conversations a year and a half ago and is all settling in kind of in the 23 to 26 area. Tyreek has 30. Justin Jefferson is due a new deal. That also got to think about the guys that were all in that first round together with Ayuk. Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, they're all going to be up. And so where the market goes. It goes up. And they all know that the salary cap is going up. I think you're low with the numbers that you're even floating out there, 17 to 20. Brandon's going to get at least 25 a year.
Yeah, Debo is getting 23.8. DK is at 24. Diggs 24. AJ Brown 25.
Yep.
Cupper Coop is making 26.7. Devontae's making 28. And Tyreek's making 30.
Yep, and Justin's going to beat all of that. So if you're Ayuk, what are you going to take? Let's say Justin goes and gets 32. I think Ayuk's going to be a $27 million player.
Yeah, wow.
I think that's where this is going. 888-957-9570. We want to continue to take your calls on all things Niners. I do want to let everyone know, though, coming up here very shortly, within the next 15 minutes or so, details are starting to come out on Shohei Ohtani's contract, and you have got to know these details, and they might upset you. I'm looking at him, and we're kind of all having the same reaction, which is, why is that allowed? Why is that even allowed? You wonder why baseball is having such a hard time financially with regard to, the
equity,
the pros and the Joes, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but let's go to Tom in Iowa. Hey, Tom, what's going on? How are you?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good.
My point is, why can't the national media, especially Nick Wright, give Purdy his flowers? I mean, Brock MVP Purdy, bang, bang, 49er gang, picking a pickle.
Nice. That's a good shout out right there. Larry Krueger.
That's a subscriber.
Yeah.
Good to know. Anyway, don't get upset at Nick Wright. You want to know why Nick Wright won't give Brock Purdy his flowers? Because you'll turn him off if he does.
Exactly. He wants to keep his job.
Yeah, show's over. Show's over if Nick goes, okay. Like, Nick. you don't Nick Wright, you want to know when he'll give him the flowers? At the parade. He did it with Wiggins. Warriors are done. Worst contract in history. And Andrew Wiggins balls out. And Nick has a mea culpa and picks a new player.
A mea culpa.
Yeah, and then he has a new player to pick on. Now it's Brock Purdy. He's never going to change. Stop worrying about Nick Wright and those who are playing the game. Zion in Minnesota. Hey, Zion, thanks for calling. What's up?
Nothing much. Just chilling. Anyways, love the show, guys. I just had a few points about just the main things against Brock's MVP argument, basically. Which is basically just his 3-game losing streak, I think, is pretty overblown. You go through it game by game. The Browns game was ugly, rainy, those things happen, but your kicker misses 2 field goals that are like gimmies, it happens, whatever. The Vikings game, I was at that game, and I can tell you, first half to second half, that was a different guy. That concussion changed him. But I guess it's and then the Bengals, that was a team loss. It happens, but yeah, I think it's just overblown greatly, especially that Browns and Vikings game.
Yeah, Zion, and that'll be the interesting one when we do get to the actual MVP vote, because multiple people have brought that up. Like, I can't get out of my head that the Niners would only score 17 a game when Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams were hurt. Do you want to go deep into sort of all the things that happened in those games that led down that road. Most people don't. You know what I mean? They're not going to go in depth. But bottom line is this. If it stays on this track, if the Niners win their last 4, if he performs well against Baltimore on Christmas, it's his. No one's going to take that word from him if all that happens.
Well, and every candidate has got some quote-unquote warts. And if you look at Dak, Dak did against the Niners, he was 14 of 24 for 153 and 3 interceptions. So if you want to talk about warts, yes, Brock Purdy didn't play great against Cleveland in bad conditions. He didn't play great against Minnesota, and they lost against Cincinnati, and he had a couple of picks against Minnesota. You can look at whatever you want to look at, but every candidate for the MVP has got something wrong with his resume. So it comes down to, at the end of the year, when you look at the numbers and you look at the record and you look at what the season was in totality, I think you're right, Mark. Even if they win 3 out of 4, he'd be hard-pressed to not get the MVP.
Probably.
Unless Lamar Jackson runs the table and comes here and beats the Niners in dramatic fashion.
Or the Dolphins go 3-0 in that last stretch and they get the 1 seed and Tyreek's at 2,100 yards or something. I mean, I just think something wild is going to have to happen.